Hey guys, tonight we're slipping into the realm of the ancient Olympian gods, where every cloud might just hold a whisper of thunder, and your toga could become a fashion statement or a hazard. Picture this. A crisp breeze swirls around, carrying a hint of mountain pine and the distant chatter of divine laughter. You probably won't survive this dive into history without getting a chuckle or two. So, consider this your ultimate deep dive into cozy chaos under the twinkling ancient Greek stars. Before you get too comfy, feel free to tap like or subscribe, but only if you're genuinely enjoying the calm around here. Tell me where you're listening from and what time it is over there. I love seeing how far this sleepy little journey reaches. Now, go ahead and lower the lights. Maybe let a fan hum in the background, and let's drift gently into tonight's story together. You wake up, greeted by a quiet mountain morning on Olympus, where the golden sun is just peeking over the marble pillars. As the mist lazily rolls back into the valleys, you can almost hear the faint echoes of a divine yawn. Hera, bless her heart, is already up and about, maybe thinking that someone else might do the chores for once, but probably knowing that she'll have to nudge Zeus awake eventually. Picture this like your daily morning struggle with the snooze button, except your alarm clock is a full-on lightning bolt ready to burst. Zeus, perched high above, lounges there like he owns the place. Well, he does. But let's not inflate his ego any further. He's probably known as the quintessential couch potato of the divine world, leaving little tasks to his less thunderous companions. Historians like to argue whether Zeus was genuinely an environmental hero for keeping his power under control, or if he was simply too laid back to care for mundane issues. Either way, it's a bit like having a friend who claims they're saving electricity by not vacuuming, but let's be real, it's mostly about avoiding the chore. Zeus does, however, have a penchant for drama, which isn't purely a modern invention. You can see why rain showers and thunderstorms might have been his personal form of expression, like a TikTok star spilling all the tea, except here it's celestial. Now, here's a fun tidbit. Mount Olympus itself was considered a mythical place so lofty and remote that ancient Greeks weren't entirely sure it even existed in the tangible sense. Almost like trying to convince someone that your imaginary friend is totally hanging out at your place every Thursday. Walking into the grand banquet hall, you would catch sight of all the other gods slowly shaking off their immortal slumber. Poseidon might be debating whether overthrowing land was worth the effort today, given his easygoing lifestyle involving lots of splashing about and the occasional shipwreck for kicks. It's kind of like binge-watching cleaning videos without actually cleaning anything. Aspirations without the perspiration. Poseidon's love-hate relationship with the seas and shores often made him the grumpy old sea dog with a heart of, well, something besides barnacles, I'm sure. And here's the wild part. Ancient texts talk about Poseidon's various contests for control. But the real question historians love to sink their teeth into is whether his rivalry with his brother Zeus was based on sibling squabbles or just plain territorial ego. It's the ultimate roommate conundrum, but with more tridents and far less passive-aggressively labeled food in the fridge. Now, as you saunter further into this mythical morning bustle, there's Hestia tending to the eternal flame, the very heartbeat of the divine home. Picture her as the calming presence amidst the godly chaos. The kind of person who probably would have kept everyone's digital calendars in perfect sync and vacuumed without needing a lightning bolt of motivation, unlike someone we know. While Hestia's role might seem humble, her dedication to maintaining peace made her the unsung hero of Olympus. Imagine her as the friend whose house you secretly love visiting because it always smells like freshly baked cookies and gentle calm. Hestia may have had a way of making the grandiose feel grounded, her hearth acting as the universe's coziest backdrop, a soft beacon of warmth that even Zeus wouldn't dare disregard. And honestly, it's the kind of steadiness that might just help when you're dreaming of having it all together. Something I'm sure we all Google at 3 a.m. These early morning interactions between the gods paint a picture of their intricacies and quirky habits. You can almost feel them stretching and yawning their way into the day, each with their own agenda and peculiarities, much like you reaching for your phone, hoping for inspiring morning affirmations, but instead seeing yet another sponsored ad for that fancy gadget you don't really need. As sunlight spills lazily through the ancient columns, this little slice of godly life is but a whisper of what else lies ahead in the winding, tangled tales of these divine beings, leaving us only to imagine their timeless choices and mortal-like dilemmas. Sliding ever so gently into the bustling realm of Olympus, you realize the morning's just unfurling its first rays over the grand chambers. Soft golden light dances across the polished marble, and as you wander through this ancient abode, a sense of intrigue and amusement swirls around, almost like the scent of freshly brewed coffee in the air. But why call it coffee when Dionysus's latest concoction might just do the trick to awaken the gods from any leftover grogginess? Let's shift eyes to Hera for a moment. Hera, with her unimpeachable dignity, often seemed the type who, if she lived in our world, would be the one to keep every group chat alive and not on mute. Fiercely protective and undeniably formidable, she's both the quintessential wife and a divine force. Still, even in her grandeur, she carried a bundle of pet peeves that would make for an entire podcast of ancient grievances. It's like if you took every reality TV reunion and packaged it into divine grandeur, full of side eyes and the eternal quest for justice. On occasions, Hera's legendary grudges could rival even the steamy drama of modern television. You see, she had a list, the type meticulously updated like seasonal allergies. A dash of mythology here, a sprinkle of vindictive magic there, from harassing poor Hercules in every heroic act to harping on Zeus's endless escapades. You genuinely have to admire her tenacity. Even scholars debate whether Hera's ferocity was born from divine necessity or simply the embodiment of an Olympian's downtrodden patience, akin to scrolling for memes when Netflix feels less enticing. As you step outside to get a breath of fresh air, tinged with divine dew, you drift past Poseidon, who's partaking in his morning ritual of inspecting the tides and throwing the occasional tantrum about earthly affairs. Imagine using a tidal wave when an email would have sufficed. Poseidon's network was immense, his domain sprawling across oceans, much like having all your socials connected, where every notification is a wave crisper than the last. Poseidon's love for mortals was a funny thing. While he cherished the sea's inhabitants, his grumpily competitive streak with his brother Zeus often led him to bicker over earthly affairs. Think Greek-style sibling rivalry, but with more seismic consequences. Historians love dissecting his motivations for occasionally intervening on land, as if trying to decipher an Aloe Black song on mute, searching for meaning in the rhythms. Yet, amidst these squabbles, Poseidon had his calmer moments. perhaps a relic of his early Neo-Atlantis days, of which the legends sing, but a shadowy undercurrent remains. Did Poseidon truly intend harmony with mankind? Or did he just tire of all those who couldn't swim? The questions ripple through time, just like any catchy tune that you can't quite get out of your head. Wandering further, your thoughts turn to other members of this divine ensemble and their peculiar pastimes. But just before those clouds sprinkle curiosity over other gods, here's Hestia, goddess of the hearth, still glowing at her post. She's the personification of home. Think warm blankets on rainy evenings, or a pumpkin spice way before it was trendy. Her quiet demeanor shaped the foundational warmth from which the other gods drew comfort, always peaceful, holding the line between the reckless and the restful in her flickering embrace. If we had a Hestia today, she'd probably master the art of tiny living, relishing in decluttered spaces and tranquility. It's almost charming to imagine how the gods, with their paradoxical splendor and humanity-like quirks, made everyday actions a blend of mystique and routine. In that sense, they remind us that even stories of divinity echo our own mortal idiosyncrasies, blurred by time, but always resonating with our everyday adventures and musings. Can you visualize Hestia's influence in giving Athena demanding advice, or calming Ares from irritation, reminiscent of Mondays at work? As these teasing thoughts drift like a soft lullaby, the sun climbs a notch higher, soft music in the universal whir of divine domesticity. The soundtrack of Olympus, just like any calming playlist, seems ever so inviting. At least, until Zeus decides to drop another thunderous beat from the heavens, shaking myths and royally interrupting the quietude of conversational clouds. But for now, the filtered sunlight is playing hide-and-seek through the colonnades, hinting ever so gently at the layers of stories woven within these ancient halls, waiting to unveil each laugh and cry in the relaxed quietude of our timeless narration. As you meander through the marble corridors of Olympus, still enchanted by the serene hush of a morning unfurling its mysteries, your gaze lingers on Athena. It feels like she's always been there, carving lines of wisdom into the marble and stringing together that mental web of strategies and foresight, much like an endless flow of unread emails that somehow still hold your undivided attention. She's the goddess of wisdom after all, and you can't help but wonder if her brain ever took a nap. Athena, with her cool, collected demeanor, often seemed like Mount Olympus's personal advice column. Maybe dusk or dawn, it made no difference. Wisdom doesn't adhere to a sleep schedule. She's the one you DM on a restless night, hoping for enlightenments tidier than those drafts cluttering your notes app. While she'd probably respond with philosophical insights, you'd still wish modern brevity could have added a TLDR somewhere in her ancient scrolls. Ironically, her gift of wisdom wasn't always a recipe for tranquility. You see, with wisdom comes an inbox full of divine dilemmas that even mighty Athena couldn't put on Do Not Disturb. Scholars do ponder whether her eternal vigilance stemmed from a deep sense of duty, or if she secretly reveled in the chaos of intellectual juggling. It's like the eternal debate of whether you're updating your resume out of motivation or procrastination. Motives can be tricky little things. Now, remember that quirky tidbit about her. Athena never experienced a conventional birth. Legends say she sprang fully grown and armored from Zeus's forehead, as if Zeus decided that labor was overrated and skipped right to parenting a fully equipped war strategist. Let's just say, Zeus didn't really grasp how one normally handles that kind of situation. But life, or rather mythology, is nothing if not bizarrely inventive, or at least interesting enough for late-night Wikipedia spirals. Wandering further, the glorious morning light almost seems to transform into the energy of upcoming inquiries and bustling divine appointments. This warmth, coupled with curiosity, brings you to Ares, in the shade of the more explosive side of divine tranquility. The god of war was like that one friend whose relationship status forever remained, it's complicated, powerfully volatile, and just a smidge misunderstood. It's as if he was Olympus's very own rock star, with the chaotic energy of a band that was always breaking up or making up. Ares, though, had a strange charm, kind of like those underdog action heroes whose motives you never fully understand. Breeding conflict yet yearning for closeness, Ares was the definition of the lover-fighter paradox. This duality left historians scratching their heads, much like when you hover your finger over the delete account button on your socials. Committed, yet hesitant, his attraction to Aphrodite was a brood storm of passion and strategy, an irony not lost on Olympus. Through warfare and romance, they encapsulated an ancient notion of love, that of tumultuous affection underwritten by cosmic alignment. Here's an open debate, though. Was Ares too impulsive, or was his seemingly boundless energy mischaracterized by those who never read between his fiery lines? You see, sometimes the answers aren't as direct as Cupid's arrows. As you flow like morning mist through these satin-lined halls, you glance upon hints of Ares' deeds etched into the very fabric of their mythic abode. The sprawling murals that contrast Athena's peacekeeping missions with Ares' fiery marches. While the gods held their celestial councils and dramas, they seemed to personify each contradiction, encompassing our own human truths and dilemmas in their merry, boisterous dance through time. Your stroll through Olympus feels akin to exploring an intricately woven tapestry, where every tug of a thread, a whispered myth, or a stifled laugh unravels another layer of stories. These ancient tales, though larger than life, faintly mirror the heart of whispers in our modern lives, where light-hearted chuckles blend with the shadows of more thoughtful musings. With that tender knot of serene reflection, you glide softly away from this patch of the divine narrative, attuned to how these timeless tales of love, wisdom, and conflict resonate through both night and dream. And there you have it, one slowed piece of history to cradle you until the next whisper of marble wonders and ancient whispers beckons anew. As the fragrant, elusive morning stretches across the heavens, you drift toward the more indulgent side of Olympus, where Aphrodite is weaving her magical webs of allure and charm. Aphrodite, the OG influencer of divine realms, had an effortless way about her, like someone who could post a single photo and have half the pantheon scrambling to update their own profiles. Imagine her powdering herself with rose petals and ambrosia-infused fragrances, leaving a perfumed wake that would make even the laziest gods sit up a little straighter. And let's face it, if she were around today, she'd probably climb aboard lifestyle blogs with beauty hacks that could enchant the masses faster than you saying, "Do I need another lip balm?" One might wonder if beauty was her hobby or her divine mandate. Historians still argue whether her focus was on spreading love or cultivating vanity in those starry-eyed mortals below. Aphrodite's charm was the stuff of legend, literally. She could host entire classes on how to woo a god, with lesson plans more engaging than ancient chiseled syllabi, promising advantages in love, that not even the greatest philosophical texts could argue against. Here's something that might tickle your curiosity. Ancient myths tell us she was born from sea foam, bringing with her the mystery of the ocean itself, which has led scholars into delightful debates about her origins and symbolic significance. Was she really the product of divine destiny? Or was she as unpredictable as the sea that heralded her arrival? The air is always lighter around her, shimmering and exciting, much like the electric anticipation of opening your inbox to discover a fresh meme or that delightful message you've been looking forward to. Aphrodite, with her ubiquitous aura, seemed to persuade time itself to dawdle in her presence. She wasn't just about beauty, you see, but the raw, enchanting energy that ignites passion in raw forms, reminding you of those fleeting moments when everything aligns perfectly, if only for a heartbeat. Speaking of divine magnetism, Artemis strolls through in quiet contrast, embodying the wild, untamed side of Olympus. As the goddess of the hunt and the solitary moon, she's got her arrows slung lazily over her shoulder, and an air that says she wouldn't think twice about turning a rude stalker into a less rational constellation. Artemis is very much the epitome of the introverted rebel, the kind who unfollows the crowd to weave her own path, hunting through forests, guided by the silver sliver of her moon. Think of her as the ultimate wilderness influencer before living off-grid was cool. Her stories illustrate such a fascinating dichotomy. She exuded a fierce independence, almost like that part of you that dreams of deleting all your social apps and running barefoot through the woods, never looking back. But there's a softer side too. Her role as protector of the wild, an Amazon, yet infinitely compassionate to those who sought or needed sanctuary. And historians have a field day debating whether her choice of solitude implies detachment from divine drama or a higher form of understanding that eludes those tethered to Olympus's web of intrigue. She'd probably revel in quiet evenings under a canopy of stars where she could dream freely. Artemis's enchanted forests are where tales of bravery and peril play out like whispered stories among the trees. In the maze of Greek mythology, her footsteps were a song of liberation, wild and haunting, leaving traces in the myths of ancient times, just as we chase fleeting fancies in our midnight dreams. Lost amongst the winding paths of thought and memory, you wander back to the hearth of myth, woven across the crests of Mount Olympus. There, echoing amidst both embers and stars, the ancient drama unfolds, a timeless theater of gods and myths, leaving whispers of their own truths to echo sweetly in the quiet, comforting chamber of your own musings, until the next moment of curiosity wraps softly around you. Their tales linger softly, like the gentle glow of a midnight moon, ushering you into a land of dreams woven gently with the fabric of myth and the lullabies of history. Now, as the rhythm of the day settles into a gentle hum across Olympus, you can almost hear the faint echo of lyres and the tapping of a bard's sandal on marble. This is Apollo's domain, where music and light dance in harmony, creating ripples of inspiration that even the muses lean into, just a tad mesmerized. Imagine strolling through a space where the air itself feels alive with melodies, whispering tunes that could very well rival those spontaneous grocery store serenades that catch you off guard. Apollo, with his golden curls and radiant presence, is busy orchestrating the vibes, much like that friend who has a playlist ready for every social occasion, even brunches that never make it out of group chats. His knack for creativity reached through art, poetry, and healing, embodying a sort of cosmic DJ who tuned in on frequencies of intuition and artistry. The sun traveled across the sky at his command, but whether Apollo favored the sunrise or the setting sun, well, that's a topic ripe for historical jest and debate. Here's a quirky tidbit. While Apollo is well known for dispensing wisdom, he's also famous for his, or should I say, his oracles, prophecies at Delphi, where mortals journeyed endlessly, hands clasped in hopes of comprehending cryptic advice. Delphi was essentially the ancient equivalent of a really dedicated advice column, filled with puzzles instead of answers you'd get from searching how to adult at 3 a.m. The stories of Apollo's quests and his tales of love craft an intricate tapestry of sweet serenades and unavoidable whispers. Historians still argue whether his romantic pursuits were part of an immortal mandate or delving into more personal endeavors of the heart. Was he really the Casanova of the sunlit hours, or just misunderstood by teenage poets dreaming under Grecian constellations? Next, meandering over to the lush fields and pressed stalks of golden grain, you find Demeter, her eyes cast toward the fruitful earth she so faithfully tended. She's the earthy, grounded counterpart amidst divine revelry, weaving her stories with the steady rhythm of the seasons. Imagine Demeter as the ultimate organic trendsetter. Her epic battle over agriculture versus famine could inspire many a modern farm-to-table venture. Demeter harbored a special connection to the cycles of life, an underlying metaphor to every farmer's almanac that mortals cherished, a real-life demonstration of planting your intentions with dedication and a bit of compost, though occasionally she'd unleash a chill winter wrath if crossed badly. One could argue whether her actions were mere reactive quirks or deeply passionate responses to the loves and losses she endured. You might chuckle at the thought of how Demeter handled grains and people with care one moment, yet she had no issue turning a cheating suitor into a work of abstract human art amidst the waves of grain if he dared to cross her. It's like ordering groceries and forgetting if you're the one picking them up. Or is it on Athena's calendar this week? Casting your gaze further, near Hephaestus's workshop, the melodies of hammers against metal ring out in harmonious clinks. Here in the forges, amid sparks and sizzling embers, you find a symphony of creation as Hephaestus forges gods, tools, and wonders. Truth be told, if there was ever an ancient DIY channel, it'd totally be his domain. Imagine Hephaestus with a YouTube channel filled with gadget reviews and pottery shorts. Hephaestus was unmatched in craftsmanship, housing secrets in each swing of his hammer that even time wished to forge into perpetuity. Yet he didn't flaunt his skill with idle boast. His artful creations spoke volumes within the mythic records, sparking debates among historians about whether his creations shaped divine destiny or merely fulfilled prophecy's dust-covered whims. Though his lamed foot made him an outsider in a world that valued physical perfection, he found strength in resilience, lending an authenticity to every creation that passed through his hands. Like updating your resume while sitting on the floor, introspection often lends its own weight of grace. Was it the spark in the metal, or in his heart, that made every tale of Hephaestus glow just a little brighter with each rekindled fire? As the tales spin around you and the myths grow tapestry thick, you realize how these legends lean into our human experience, illuminating those starry-eyed corners where history's whispers and stories thrive. Even in the calm after the storm, within echoing chambers of marble dreams and that gentle, ageless drift into dreams felt once again. With the lasagna layers of Olympus Gradually settling into their comforting tapestry, your attention glides toward the entertaining antics of Hermes. Picture Hermes as the slick, silver-tongued friend who always has the inside scoop, the one who manages to float between cliques and never misses a beat. As the messenger god, he was basically Olympus's gig economy worker, a divine courier delivering sparkling anecdotes and godly gossip faster than you can say same-day delivery. Hermes wielded his wings like the ancient world's very first high-speed internet, zipping between realms with a smile that masked mischief. If you've ever texted "on my way" while still cocooned in bed, you'll appreciate his ability to bend the truth with a charming jest. And of course, with that signature wit, Hermes was the go-to for mischief and intrigue, often leaving Zeus both impressed and aggravated in equal measure. The quirkiest tales of Hermes often had him inventing nifty tools or orchestrating the oddest pranks, kind of like a Grecian MacGyver meets Robin Hood. If there's an ongoing debate among scholars, it's whether Hermes' tricks were acts of good-natured genius or harmless mischief disguised to pattern the chaos of the divine tapestry. He was a complex character, one who left a breadcrumb trail of pranks and laughs throughout mythology. Remember this odd little tidbit. Hermes had a pair of winged sandals, Talaria, and a pet tortoise named Chelone, who, according to some myths, wasn't just a pet, but somehow woven into one of Hermes' tales. How's that for keeping a peculiar, charming company? Moving your focus just a shade over to Dionysus, the nighttime revels of the god of wine and ecstasy become audible against the tranquil hum of the sky. Dionysus, the eternal party animal, floated between phases of merrymaking and reflective musings, a lot like finishing a long week with a spontaneous weekend road trip, complete with inappropriate yet hilarious playlists. His vine sprouted at the whims of his moods, just like ordering extra fries even when your inner dietitian protests. His legendary parties would put even the wildest frat house shindigs to shame. And as the god of theater, he certainly knew how to set the stage. But behind the vibrant laughter and twirling dances lay a soul as rich and complicated as the wines that bore his mark. Historians are captivated by Dionysus, wondering out loud in paper after paper if his rambunctious nature came from inherent chaos, or as a voice in the grander theater opposing the orderly world. Was he a god of carefree joy, or a sage wrapped in the vine's embrace? And here's where the godly narrative takes a turn into the romantic, the not at all glamorous, kind of clumsily enchanting realm of entanglements. Beside the swirling tales of Dionysian revelry and Hermes-inspired pranks, the shadow of Hades looms quietly, tucked away in the depths of the underworld, yet not forgotten. Hades, often painted with a gloomy brush, actually held a depth that might surprise you. One not just of somber domain keeping, but of love and loyalty, a resonant hum that even Persephone came to cherish. The age-old tale of Hades and Persephone captures the essence of mystery, blending the dark and the radiant in a way that may still spark debates among scholars. Was Hades an emblem of misunderstood allure, or did his love for Persephone reveal a shadow hidden beneath layers of preconceived myths? An untypical god with a beating heart amid whispers of pomegranate seeds? Reflecting on these tales, it's like watching countless stars slowly woven together into constellations. Each story, a light thread of myth, weaving into the dark backdrop of the cosmos, a celestial quilt of laughter, love, and lasting warmth amid the hushed chorus of Olympus. The gods, complex and vividly painted, offer glimpses of their own behind-the-myth quirks and dramas, reminding us of our own stories, similar yet unique in how they blend together into the canvas of our modern lives. Resting within this quiet realm of myth and wonder, you might find yourself cradled by the dreams of Olympus, with tales of divine laughter and heavenly whispers echoing gently through the night. Drift softly as the curtain of today's story falls into a timeless sleep, where the gods and their narratives linger close, weaving seamlessly through the fabric of both history and dreams. As the tales gently intertwine like the threads in a cozy blanket, we glide back to the heart of Olympus, where Hephaestus, despite his outward quiet demeanor, is always the backbone of activity. It's his workshop that stands as a testament to divine perseverance and creativity, a space filled with sparks and the rhythmic song of hammers hitting metal, an ancient symphony of creation. If there ever was a DIY god, Hephaestus surely wore the crown. Imagine a divine Black Friday sale, but instead of gadgets, it's all about legendary crafts emerging from the forges. Your senses are immediately overwhelmed by the wafting sense of molten metal and the earthy aroma of cooling clay sculptures. As Hephaestus shapes his masterpieces, he knits together a tapestry of endurance and creativity. Despite his limp, a result of being tossed from Olympus as a baby, a shadowy touch in divine harmony, he doesn't brood. Instead, each stroke of his hammer against the anvil rings with purpose, echoing the determination of one who understands that perfection often arises from imperfections. Hephaestus embraced the warm glow of the forge's fire, not just to create, but to bring beauty and function into the eternal dance of gods. In historical debates, scholars often clash over whether Hephaestus found solace in his labor, or if his affinity for creation was severance from the exclusion he experienced from other divine affairs. Much like updating a long-neglected hobby blog, his work was both a cathartic practice and a bridge between worlds. Let us indulge for a moment in an amusing anecdote. After forging Pandora, the first woman, Hephaestus curated a repertoire of tricks of the trade that even Grecian rumor mills couldn't help but keep alive, spinning tales more enduring than any Spotify playlist looped without shame. The tools he shaped bore whispers of tales, questions of whether his unmatched craftsmanship was born from ingenuity or the need to prove himself amid the divine hierarchy. In a way, he was a lot like many of us, finding meaning and elegance in the most unexpected place, our work. Gently turning toward the leafy corridors lush with the fragrant oils of Dionysus's wine, let's linger for a moment at Zeus's jovial brother. The god of wine and merrymaking carries a wine cup ready to burst, and as the air is tinged with a heady aroma, the fields come alive with laughter and clinking chalices. One imagines it's the energizer for many ancient Grecian nights. Dionysus, apart from being a patron of festivities, shared a deeper side too. He was a confidant to those seeking liberation from existential burdens, a guiding light in the embrace of the vine's tales, a sweet whisper inviting uninhibited freedom. His festivals altered the mundane rhythm of time, a bacchanalian symphony bringing carefree moments, not unlike those perfect accidental evenings of camaraderie we all occasionally find. The real question drawing historians into noisy bars of debate remains: was Dionysus's power genuine liberation, or merely ephemeral escape from the weighty tapestry of life? Curling into the warmer embrace of tales tonight, the stories continue to wrap around you like the thickest, fuzziest socks. bringing with them the warmth of once-heard tales and ageless questions left hanging like golden beams in chandelier ceilings. Wouldn't it be curious, reflecting upon Olympus filled with gods whose intentions and dramatics whispered across storms, that they endear so, as if with each story we find a piece tethered to our own nighttime wanderings, echoing magnificent stories far beyond the mortal coil. You'll hear their tales bounding across cosmic strings, aiding your slumber through the soft embrace of narratives older than time. The stories, now a gentle hum accompanying you beneath the theater of restful dreams. In this softened cocoon, we drift peacefully together, snuggled in the familiar flicker of temporal wonders under the dimming celestial spark of Olympus. Cherished tales spun once more into the tapestry of countless dreams, now ever so close. So let your world fade into peaceful dreams, knowing these ancient gods, with their quirks and charisma, whisper softly into the timeless night. As the divine stories weave themselves into a rich tapestry, we quietly venture back to the heart of this celestial narrative, gently cradling the essence of the gods. Now, as twilight flickers over Olympus, like fairy lights strung lazily around a room filled with sleepy conversations, we find Hermes again, flitting about with his usual infectious energy. He's like that impish breeze that swirls playfully around you, teasing and entertaining, leaving you to wonder what delightful mischief was just left in its wake. Hermes, the fleet-footed messenger, continues his sacred duties in a way that would make any modern courier service blush with envy. Picture him as an ancient version of your phone's instant messenger, carrying texts more dramatic than any you've seen, delivering a stream of secrets and truths faster than a meme makes the rounds online. Ever the clever god, Hermes knew all too well the delicate dance between truth and embellishment, handling them with such finesse that it's a wonder he didn't invent the rumor mill himself. Let me share a quirky little tidbit. When he wasn't busy flying from Olympus to the mortal realm, Hermes would unwind by playing the lyre, an instrument he created from a turtle shell. Think of it like finding a YouTube hacker who also happens to play acoustic guitar virtuoso jams just for fun. Historians love to muse over Hermes' dual life. Was he a trickster by design, or did he simply enjoy keeping the divine order on its immortal toes? But alongside Hermes, let your drift continue toward Aphrodite, who moves with grace and charm that naturally command the room. Her allure is timeless, a testament to a charisma that echoes through centuries. If TikTok existed back then, she'd have defined every aesthetic trend, leaving all other influencers scrambling to match her divine prowess. Aphrodite's labyrinth of love stories serves more nuance than those scrolling reels on a late, sleepless night. They reflect layers of identity and emotion not so easily classified. She's the friend you'd turn to with a heart full of questions, one who would tell you love's toughest secrets, wrapped delicately in laughter and knowing glances. Scholars debate her age-old intentions. Did Aphrodite weave love's dramas as the ultimate playwright? Or was she merely guiding the heart's erratic dance steps across Olympia's ancient dance floors? Our musings on these enchanted wanderings bring us next to Artemis, the moonlit goddess, known for her woods and wiles, her gentle yet fiercely protective heart. Her presence invokes the kind of peace you'd seek on solo hikes through a quiet forest, where the only sound is the soft crunch of leaves underfoot, and your thoughts framing a canopy of resolute independence. Artemis defies definition as much as she invites consideration. draping herself in the paradox of nurturing strength and remote solitude. Historians often find themselves in delightful tangles over Artemis's role. Was she a fierce protector encapsulated in the glow of her moon, or a secluded spirit grasping at freedom away from divine entanglements? Perhaps it was both, or perhaps deities, like myths, blend beyond the singular confines of simple storytelling. Under Artemis's gentle guidance, these thoughts bathe like cool moonbeams in the lake of contemplation, reflectively soothing wanderers who arrive at her door, seeking the clarity found under her silvery gaze. Her legacy lures us endlessly back into the stories, a beckoning passage threading through the quiet stillness of Olympus's realms. As you cuddle deeper into blanket folds and soft pillows, these fables become your companions, watching over you as sprightly as Hermes, as sweetly enticing as Aphrodite, and as serenely comforting as Artemis. Let yourself be buoyed by the gentle embrace of mythology, where God's whispers and their ageless lore cosset you into the restful promise of sleep, beneath a soft, starry quilt of enigma and delight ready to guide any dreamer's night. In the quiet glow of this timeless narrative, surrender softly to the familiar embrace of legendary tales, a divine slumber so alluring you might just dream in the sweet cadence of mythology's tranquil melody, forever entwined just beyond the reach of waking moments, softly, restfully, into history's gentle arms. As the soft cocoon of night enfolds you, the tales continue to weave their gentle lull, leading you back to Apollo's realm of light and music, where his presence shines like the first promise of dawn. Apollo, with his bright aura and effortless charisma, strums golden notes that shimmer in the air, transcending the mortal coil in a melody reminiscent of a perfect morning jam. Imagine him gracefully maneuvering through the celestial playlist, adjusting the balance between day and night with a steady hand and a knowing smile. Apollo's domain isn't just about the sun's path across the sky. He administers a whole symphony of life's elation and enlightenment, as delicate as the touch of fingertips on a lute. This patron of the arts would be right at home curating a playlist that could rival Spotify's top charts, filled with harmonies more timeless than the turning of the earth itself. Historians find themselves in a delightful quandary over whether his influence followed mortal inspiration or guided it, a subtle balance between leading and listening, a paradox ever so delicious. Now, a quirky tidbit from his lore. Apollo once had a music duel with a satyr named Marsyas, reminiscent of those intense dance-offs in cheesy dance movies, but with the stakes cranked up to eternal glory or loss. Honestly, even divine beings had their moments of unyielding competition, where ego and artistry wove the tapestry of myth into a narrative of stunning, albeit sometimes tragic, beauty. And from Apollo's beaming string of creativity, the path leads softly back to the fertile embrace of Demeter, goddess of harvest and nurturing warmth. She holds the seasons with the tenderness of a mother cradling her child's head against her shoulder, her care existing beyond just the crop. It wraps the earth in cycles of life and rebirth, a never-ending ode to growing transformation. Demeter's realm is the comfort of returning home after a days-long journey, the forgiving recollection of earth beneath tired feet. Imagine her as a gardener with a cosmic allotment, ensuring bounty while the seasons mimic her emotions, quiet in frost, but full in spring. Historians pursue an endless thread of interest in Demeter's profound duality, mother and provider with her daughter's tale, Persephone, rooting down into a narrative of loss and eventual renewal. Her story is not merely one of growth, but an expression of timeless elegance that echoes in every seed and every harvest. It's like those cherished comfort meals whose recipes stay with us throughout life, been carried and whispered through generations. And then there's the inimitable Hephaestus, whose fiery forge adds warmth and depth to Olympus's vibrant tapestry. He's the god of blacksmiths and craftsmen, a creator and a loner, who teaches us that beauty is born from both fire and patience. Imagine sparks flying in musical syncopations as he molds the molten, the first embers of invention cradled in the heart of creative fire, similar to artists finding inspiration in the unlikeliest places. Hephaestus's handiwork proves a point, contributing masterpieces not just of raw power, but of precision, infusing life into what once was lifeless. Scholars often wonder if his narratives were written against the backdrop of rejection he initially faced, or if they were testamentary acknowledgments that craftsmanship is, after all, a divine expression of soul made tangible. One day's discarded iron is another myth's hero's sword. Cocooned now in the warm glow of this mythic reverie, the stories wrap themselves tightly around you, a tapestry woven with the ageless threads of Apollo's light, Demeter's nurture, and Hephaestus's creativity. As these chapters of divine legacy croon against the night's soft edges, you can feel them lulling you into the tranquil embrace of sleep. Each iconic echo, another step into the soothing continuum of dreams untold, yet ever present. Under the still glow of this lullaby, woven with the threads of history, allow yourself to melt gently into the world of dreamscapes, where stories never truly end but rest like embers in a timeless hearth, ready for rekindling in the quiet promise of each new dawn. Here, with the tales tucked close and warmth unyielding, serenity awaits softly, ever gently sweeping you into the velvety embrace of sleep, where myth and meaning eternally conspire to welcome you home. As your mind sways softly with these tales of Olympus, the night air seems to hum with a secret melody, pulling you deeper into the timeless embrace of divine dreams. Along the edges of this celestial stage, the presence of Ares, god of war, flickers like the distant echo of a drumbeat carried on the wind. If his stories seem wrapped in turmoil and valor, they also sparkle with a surprising complexity, the kind that might sneak up on you while watching a gripping drama series, leaving you questioning the choices of its characters into the night. Ares cuts a striking figure, striding across the legends with both bravado and hesitation. He's the embodiment of duality, a figure born for battle, yet often overshadowed by the unpredictable tension between glory and infamy. His exploits, recited like epic battle poems, seem to spring from the clash of armor, much like those days when notifications flood your phone, commanding attention with urgency and persistence. Despite his fearsome reputation, there's an undertone of vulnerability to Ares that might make you wonder. Does the god of war yearn for peace, embrace sparingly under Olympus's wide expanse? Scholars argue robustly over whether Ares represented the brutish side of conflict, or if his tale held lessons encapsulating courage tempered with introspection. Could his battles have captured the jagged truth of courage over superficial pride? Then there's the quirky facet of his relationship with Aphrodite, a saga that makes ancient gossip columns seem almost prophetic. Their union was infamous, a coupling of unavoidable magnetism that drew whispering glances from their celestial peers. Ares and Aphrodite's dance around desire and social constraints is a tale that tantalizingly exposes the human heart's timeless search for connection, even amidst the divine, twisting elegantly into another part of this vast sky, where the stories seem to be painted onto starlit domes. We find ourselves pondering the quieter strength of Hades. Often perceived as the underworld's warden, his role as a stern overseer belies a depth that echoes like an old, comforting lullaby. In modern imaginations, Hades often gets written off as shadow and gloom, but delve a little deeper and a different story surfaces. Hades, with his kingdom beneath the surface, shadows and mirrors our own world in its fairness and memory. Scholars delight in debating whether Hades' portrayal as a stern ruler of the underworld was fair, or if his character was simply overly influenced by his misunderstood realm. Was he truly the somber figure cloaked in mystery, or does his tale invite us to look beyond the veil to find notions of loyalty, wisdom, and love wrapped delicately in the core of myth? Here's something that makes even the celestial chuckle. Hades, despite the mists of his underworld domain, managed a happy union with Persephone, an expression of loyalty and depth that defies mortal expectations. Their story lures us into arguments over whether their love was truly entwined with the seasons or if it transcended the narratives of spring and harvest altogether, a gesture of redemptive solace amidst divine drama. In the soft glow of this narrative twilight, you teeter between the lines of myth and reality, caught in the web of these tales that flicker like ancient flames ensconced in a hearth. With each word, you are gently lured deeper into a world where the fantastical feels intimate, where godly heroes and their flaws echo into the quiet night, a gentle invitation to dream. Let these stories settle around you like a warm quilt, soft and inviting, offering whispers of ancient marvels and timeless wonder. With dreams threaded into each divine echo, surrender yourself to the soft night, the hush of starlight, and the lulled heartbeat of legend. Let the narratives guide you home, where history and dreams coalesce to draw you into the peaceful folds of slumber, beneath constellations painted with memory and myth, gifting you the tranquil embrace of restful nights and dreams yet to be unfurled. As the soft whispers of Olympus begin to lull time itself into a gentle pause, you find yourself gliding back into the soothing rhythm of divine tales. The stories continue to unfold like a silken tapestry, endlessly weaving through the night air, inviting you to lean back and let the faint murmur of the gods guide you towards serenity. Picture Dionysus, the effervescent god of wine and revelry, whose laughter bubbles up like a playful brook in some quiet glen. He's the eternal life of the party, where the clink of cups and the scent of ripe grapes dance through the air. Imagine him throwing a bash that even the stars might envy, a celestial celebration filled with joyful abandon. It's like when you binge old classic comedies, and before you know it, it's 3 a.m, and you're basking in the sweet glow of nostalgia. Dionysus, of course, isn't all wild abandon. There's a layer of depth beneath his merry exterior. While he might appear to be Olympus's perennial party planner, he also embodies the sobering calm after celebration, a reminder of balance, like the quiet satisfaction you feel after a day full of joyful noise. Historians leaf through his narratives, wondering whether he promoted reckless felicity or championed the heartfelt pursuit of life's deepest joys. Was he the patron saint of joy, or just the universe's nod to finding pleasure in complexity? Here's something a bit amusing. One tale recounts how King Midas, Dionysus's drunken admirer, requested the infamous golden touch. The story is a quirky reminder to be careful what you wish for, wrapped up with the life lesson that sometimes simplicity is immeasurable wealth. It's almost relatable, like when your latest online purchase was more sewing chaos than convenience in your living space. Amidst nights of laughter and moonlit dances, Dionysus's presence seems to cradle your heart, whispering that sometimes the greatest wisdom lies in letting go. In the corner of this narrative ensemble is Hermes, that tireless divine courier, moving effortlessly through the mosaics of myth with his signature flair. Having him glide between plots of mythologies feels akin to reviving nostalgia, the familiar ping of an old message alert, lighting up the night just when it started blending into dawn. His stories reveal layers of wit and ingenuity, a testament to life's paradoxes and the playful dance of fate. And all those times he invented a clever ruse with a grin that might dissolve even Hera's irritation. Historians ask if Hermes truly thrived on tumultuous escapades or found solace in the order amidst divine chaos. Picture him now, ensconced in that cycle of creation and meaning, perhaps wearing winged sandals designed by a visionary Greek with tech aspirations well ahead of his time. It's like texting the fastest reply in a group chat, pretending the source of your humor is eternally on. As the skies dim even further, these divine tales draw around with the gentle touch of evening light. In their embrace, there is laughter, wisdom, and those whispers of fabled truths that traverse time to cradle you tonight. Let the chorus of tales swirl around your consciousness as each figure, with their grand tales and quiet reflections, cozies up to stand vigilant beside your dreams, escorting you into the gentle haven of repose. As every whisper of the gods gently eases you into the folds of slumber, let these legends carry you across starlit realms, adrift amidst history's gentle hum, a soothing sonnet that effortlessly beckons the sweetest respite from the world without and within. Rest peacefully, with myths and dreams holding you in divine embrace, cradling the heart of every sleepy wanderer till dawn's tender reveille calls once more. The night deepens in its velvety quietness, and the stories of Olympus continue to wrap themselves around you like a warm, familiar blanket. Now, as the divine narratives gently sway with the soft rhythms of slumber, we edge once more into that mysterious realm where the gods' tales mingle with the fabric of dreams, each thread sparking a new wonder. Hestia, the gentle heart of Olympus, vigilantly keeps her eternal flame alight, quietly watching over this assembly of myth. She is the goddess of hearth and home, her presence a constant reminder that amidst the chaos of divine escapades, there is solace in simplicity and constancy. Imagine fireplaces crackling with warmth, the faithful click of a kettle boiling, and the comfort of your favorite novel resting snugly in your lap. That's Hestia, the embodiment of coming home, warm and inviting. While her siblings inspired tales that crackled like wildfire across Greece, Hestia was the steady glow that provided peace within each frazzled thread. Scholars, captivated by her modest role, debate whether Hestia's lack of drama was a conscious choice, a divine contentment with watching over the immortal tranquility while avoiding the limelight, unaffected by the Olympus chaos, like turning off notifications to find that deliciously rare moment of sublime focus. Here's a quirky notion. Hestia is often overlooked, but perhaps she preferred it that way, basking in the quiet moments, much like deleting and then reinstalling social apps to focus, savoring the Zen chaos can't disturb. Her story may not shout, but it resonates with those gentle whispers that hum quietly in the heart and home. With her tender guardianship, those tales unfold next to the doorstep where you find Persephone, half goddess of the underworld, half goddess of spring, a beautifully juxtaposed portrait of resilience and grace. Guided by cyclical rhythms, she journeys between worlds every year, renewed in each transformation, not unlike catching that first whiff of spring after a long, dreary winter. Persephone's tale encapsulates both light and shadow as she alternates roles between captive and queen. Her story is an intricate sonnet, rich with themes of rebirth and choice. Is her narrative about seeking harmony in duality, or did she grace the darkness with light that comes only through resilience? Scholars muse over whether her journey was predetermined, or if Persephone claimed agency navigating those hallowed halls. Her life story raises a familiar, curious notion: the question of whether she yearned for arrival or longed continuously for departure plays out like those trips you take, just returning to cozy rooms that always feel explicitly yours. The quiet tick of ancient time invites you to note how these stories merge, each vibrating with gentle euphony to accompany the serene thrall of sleep. Each character embodies human emotion in godly splendor, echoing truth and whimsy beneath Olympus's grand tapestry. As you release your awareness to this space between tales, dreams wrap you like an embrace of honey-sweet narratives, their soft, eternal whispers soothing your senses, inviting you further into a state of deep tranquility. Here, let the myths guide you gently through the night, serenading you into a peaceful drift upon their ethereal song, until the dawn nudges softly once more, with the gentle promise of tales spun anew in morning's light. As the stories weave their final layers into the soft tapestry of night, you find yourself floating through the enchanting currents of Olympus once more, carried by the sweet and gentle insights shared by each of the gods. It's in this tender crossing between day and dream that the myths start to whisper their goodbyes, lulling you gently into a deeper sense of calm. Imagine, for a moment, the endless sky tinged with the first hints of dawn, casting long shadows over the marble halls where these storied beings reside. There's a lingering presence, as if the gods themselves are just behind the veil, watching, ever so subtly reminding you of their timeless elegance woven into the tapestries of history. Hera, with her regal air and myriad stories of both pride and forgiveness, allows her tales to swirl into the background, much like the soft echoes of a song whose notes linger even after silence has returned. Zeus, never entirely asleep, perhaps allows his thunderous thoughts to rest a bit, mirroring the lull you feel when the electronic hum of the day fades to a gentle silence. The gods, now already a little more blurred, mellow alongside the backdrop of Mount Olympus, offering not the drama of daylight legends, but the quiet comfort found in evening whispers. It's like reading a favorite book, where the pages fade into memory just as your eyes gently close, blotting out all else but the warmth of familiarity. In this drowsy harmony, Hestia tends the hearth brighter, creating an ambiance perfect for rest, where even the most animated gods and their escapades quieten down. It's a scene akin to snuggling into a couch on a rainy afternoon, to the soundtrack of raindrops and content sighs, finding a peace that's both gentle and eternally soothing. Such is the presence of Hestia's eternal warmth. As all these wonders sink softly into the quiescent shadow of Olympus, Persephone's realm lovingly nods toward the earth, a pastel promise of spring peeking out through winter's end. Her narrative lines artfully thread the fine border between night and morning, gently guiding you across dreams woven with flowers and shadows, delight and depth. The murmured tales offer a tender respite from the hurried beat of daily life, as modern impossibilities blur into ancient truths. Quietly, the gods tuck themselves away, leaving you with an ethereal blanket of myths wrapped around your resting form, miracles on the cusp of your own dreams. So surrender now to this timeless peace as the gods and their grand adventures nestle into the cozy corners of your mind, twinkling softly like stars, awaiting their nocturnal debut once more. Here, the threads of myth, spun with gentle care, softly rock you into an easy sleep where longing nor worry follow. Drift into that embrace, ensuring your own sweet lullabies spun from the loom of legends, cradling you through the night's deep, comforting passages. Let the soothing brush of dreams, drawn from the artistry of ancient tales, tenderly carry you into a serene slumber, enfolded in absolute tranquility, where story and dream become one, beneath the soft rhythms of a gently sighing cosmos. In the gentle embrace of these whispering tales, you sense the comforting light of dawn, softly nudging your window, yet not quite cutting through the comforting veil of dream. It's as though you're lying beneath a lazy morning sky, where lingering stardust from Olympus still plays tricks on those waking thoughts, gently persuading you to linger a while longer in the soothing cocoon of myth and dreams. As your senses begin to stir and stretch, much like waking cats unfurling after a night of pleasant rest, the tender shimmer of golden light dapples along the edge of slumber and waking life. You can almost hear the faint echo of Apollo's lyre, its notes a gentle reminder of daylight, weaving in with the songs of morning birds who sing praises to the early sun. The gods, now more figured silhouettes than vivid stories, continue to drift toward the backdrop of consciousness, their playful banter and stirring sagas forming a rich background hum. Each myth quietly echoes, invoking a harmony intrinsic to their celestial nature, whispering what you might carry forward into day's adventures, reminding you that even in the most modern of days, the divine can be found in tiny, unexpected moments of grace. It's like those rare mornings where everything aligns, a perfect cup of coffee, sunlight through leafy branches casting patterns on walls, and that sweet pause between thought and action, gifting you simplicity and peace in their most distilled form. Hearing the soft sigh of Hestia's hearth now fading into the steady pace of a day awakening, you're reminded how much comfort lies in continuity. The warmth and gentle glow of her eternal flame recede like the hug that lasts just a heartbeat longer than you expected, the kind you return to in thought whenever solace is needed. Persephone's journey, an eternal dance between life's cyclical shadows and light, inspires as you envision her virtuosity in navigating between the seen and unseen. Her resilience leaves a soft imprint across your mind, guiding you into another cycle, a peaceful assurance that change rolls on like gentle morning mist covering spring fields. Now, as these musings rest upon the eastern horizon of your thoughts, there's a calm assurance that the gods will still be there, a celestial cast ever vigilant in the quiet of the universe, ready to spring to life once more when evening's whispers draw the day to a gentle close. Allow yourself this final moment to bask in the tranquility of the night, gently giving way to dawn, letting the echo of myth and memory blanket you with contented calm. The tales, gently woven into the fabric of your dreams, will linger, mingling with hope and possibility, inviting you to dwell in this quiet sanctum of peace a little longer. And so, as you gracefully transition into waking moments, may the essence of these stories leave a tender imprint on your heart, a gentle reminder of the intertwined dance between myth and life, comfort and adventure. Sleep softly whenever you return to this place of tales and tranquility, where every dream is cradled lovingly by the loom of the ancients and stars. As the morning light begins to stretch across the horizon, gently filtering through the curtains, you linger a moment longer in the quiet embrace of night's stories. There's a soothing rhythm to the transition from dreamy myth to the waking world, as if the universe itself holds its breath, savoring these final moments of peace before the day begins. In these early hours, you find yourself enveloped in the soft glow of a new day. Each passing second infused with the lingering whispers of Olympus. Imagine the gods now retreating into their celestial abode, each returning to their place in timeless stories, their divine presence gently receding like the tide. They leave behind a soft echo, a gentle hum that carries the essence of their tales, reminders of wisdom found in moments grand and subtle. The vibrant melody of Apollo's morning lyres fades into the earth's own rhythm, coaxing nature into day with a quiet symphony that promises renewal. This harmonious start bears the same allure as watching the first hints of color unfurl across the sky, each stroke of dawn more brilliant than the last. It's a serene reminder of the beauty that awaits in the simplest things, those glimmers of magic woven into the fabric of everyday life. As your mind stirs to life, lulled by the warmth of Persephone's eternal cycle of renewal, take this renewal as an invitation to step gently into the promises of the day ahead. Her story leaves a gentle imprint, as if whispering against your skin, a delicate nudge to find joy in the ebb and flow, the rise and fall of life's own seasons. As you rise, let Hestia's gentle light guide your morning steps, a quiet glow that instills warmth into every corner, every movement. It's like taking that first sip of something warm and soothing, a gentle hug in a mug, promising comfort as you begin anew. And while the echoes of Dionysus's revelries fade softly into memory, perhaps you carry forward a dash of his spontaneity in your stride, a reminder that even within the routine exists the possibility of joy and unexpected delight. With this peaceful intertwining of myth and waking reality, the gods and their stories leave subtle traces upon your path, encouraging a day filled with serenity, wonder, and quiet whispers of their timeless treasures. As you step into the light, may the gentle essence of these tales accompany you, a soft reminder of the harmony found between dreams and day, inviting you to explore the beauty that unfolds gently beside you in every moment. Now, with the stories tucked lovingly into your heart, take a deep, restful breath, feeling the promise of a new day, and let that gentle, knowing sigh carry you gracefully from the realm of dreams into the warm embrace of reality, where the whispers of Olympus continue softly, guiding you ever onward beneath the watchful eye of time.